Anemone is a surprisingly controversial character in the Wings of Fire community. Is she a spoiled brat who does whatever she wants, or a child dealing with trauma? The debate is evidence to just how in-depth Anemone is as a character for people to have that many interpretations. So if I'm being honest, Anemone is probably one of the most complex characters in Wings of Fire, and you can tell Tui based his character off of a person. I can't wait to dive in and see what's at the core of Anemone's character. Before we get started, if you're new to this channel, please think about subscribing. I regularly post Wings of Fire and Warrior Cats content, so you'll never be bored. And to my current subscribers, thank you so much for supporting me. I wouldn't have gone here without y'all. About that, we just hit 7K. I really don't know what to say about that. It's just, wow, a lot. I am planning on doing something to celebrate, so keep your eyes open as I might need to do a community post to figure out what time would be the most convenient for all who might want to participate. I'd also like to apologize for my voice. I'm currently going through it with allergies, and I'm drinking a lot of water, so I should get back to normal soon. Now let's talk about Anemone. Anemone was raised spoiled even before anyone knew she was an animus. She was the sole surviving heir of Queen Coral. All of their eggs that could have hatched to be her sisters were destroyed by a statue enchanted by Orca, an animus daughter of Coral. Orca had intended on using the statue to kill her own daughters, but due to her death in a challenge against her own mother, the statue was left undetected to kill her sisters. Another heir remains, but lost. Her egg was stolen by Webs, a member of the Towns of Peace. She does not live in the Sea Kingdom and is unaware of her true identity, so Anemone is left to bear the burden of being an heir alone. Having all of her female children die underneath her snout made Coral a bit paranoid over the health of the remaining one. She became a bit of a helicopter parent, and was so controlling that she had a custom designed harness for her daughter so that they would never be separated, leading to a lack of privacy for Anemone. Anemone was never allowed to have normal dragonette experiences. She was kept away from her brothers who played too rough and could have injured her. We are never shown her being friends with even other female dragonettes her age, and she was likely unsocialized while growing up. The life of this young dragonette changes dramatically within her first year of life. The Seawings have a trial once a year to see if their dragonettes have magic. Anemone and her brothers are taken there. One of them is called Turtle, and he actually has magic. He ends up enchanting Anemone to be an animus just to draw attention away from himself. He says to himself that Coral will appreciate this, as it's just like a plot to one of her books, showing the detachment to Coral from reality that sometimes happens in the books. As an animus, Anemone has her powers honed by Whirlpool. I say that incredibly satirically because animus magic is straightforward, and it's just saying a few words. She doesn't need any training, however Whirlpool keeps on insisting to Coral that she needs more and the methods continue. Whirlpool is just as aware as a reader that the lessons aren't improving anything. However, he continues to do it because it does do something. That is, drain Anemone's sanity. According to common Seawing folklore, using magic drove an animus named Albatross's sanity. He is well aware of this. He does this because her mental instability will lead to her becoming more susceptible to his manipulations. It will make her easier to control when she becomes queen, and hopefully his wife. That's right, Whirlpool wants a 2-year-old as his wife, and he is at least 10 years old. It's up for debate whether he is a pepperoni. I'm using that word to keep YouTube from banishing me to the Shadow Realm, but he's at least a textbook example of grooming, which is taking advantage of and exploiting a person's mental immaturity or weakness in order to influence their behavior and perception of reality. Anemone tells her mother she's uncomfortable with him and wants her lessons with him to end. However, Whirlpool is enough of a bootlicker that Coral ignores the complaints of her own daughter to keep her boots clean. This likely damages a bit of the trust for her mother and Anemone. Eventually, Anemone's long-lost sister Tsunami shows up. Coral is thrilled to have another heir, but that doesn't mean she'll let Anemone go now that the survival of the royal family line is secured. Instead, Coral begins to try and control Tsunami as well. She makes her daughter seem weak in front of the royal court, and tries to get Whirlpool to mentor or control her as well. Anemone gets an opportunity to talk privately to Tsunami. She tells Tsunami that she's told her mother she doesn't want to marry Whirlpool. She reveals her powers a day later to her when Whirlpool forces her to enchant a necklace. Tsunami is suffering through attempted kidnappings, so when she's captured and is pretty much left rolling into jail for no reason, Anemone uses an animus spell to find out who it was. Upon learning it was Whirlpool, Anemone is frightened. Whirlpool tries to attack them. Anemone uses a spear to push a Whirlpool into the pool of electric eels that they are standing in front of. And in AMV, I once drew her as almost triumphant in reclaiming power from him. But looking in the graphic novel, it is clear that that is not the emotion she is feeling. She appears terrified. Anemone, are you alright? Just look at her, she absolutely is not. Not only has she just killed a fellow dragon at a young age, a traumatizing event for anyone, but she is also an animist. Her entire life, people have been telling her of Albatross, the evil Seawing who killed the entire Seawing royal family, save a few, and she's just killed a dragon. She's beginning what everyone told her she wouldn't be like, a killer magic dragon, and she can see the holes in her soul, and she wonders if she will kill more dragons, just like Albatross. After the war, Tsunami invites Anemone to the Chain Mountain Academy. Her personality from this point on is pretty different. She's bratty and bold from expressing her new freedoms. Anemone tries to steal a fish from another dragon, which is a bit pathetic, but she thinks she deserves it. This is likely a bit of Queen Coral's entitlement rubbing off on her, and her being more used to talking to servants than peers. Keep in mind the social isolation. She even tries to get another Seawing dragonette to do it, named Pike. Pike is her unofficial bodyguard. In the epilogue of Winter Turning, Anemone thinks about how she would not allow her mother to bring her home, and the spell on Auklet's harness should keep her busy. To this day, I don't think we know what that spell is. I assume Tui forgot about that too. Darkstalker, an ancient animist, ends up emerging from a mountain where he has been slumbering for around 3,000 years. Turtle runs off to warn her about him, but she refuses to go into hiding and instead goes and meets him. Not the smartest idea. Her first action to him is to use a storm to protect him from two other dragons that were fighting him. He was really in no danger, this was just an excuse for her to show off her power. The two quickly become close. Darkstalker offers her an enchanted necklace to protect her powers and tells her to run all spells by him. Anemone is overly eager to appeal to him, likely because she's never met another animist before. However, they're not on the same level like Darkstalker is with Moon. He considers Anemone more like a little pest who he has to deal with, who might be incredibly useful. Definitely more of a tool than a daughter to him. When Stone Mover is attacked by Flame, she uses a similar spell to the one she used on Whirlpool to track down Flame. Soon after, Darkstalker and a few other dragons go to the rainforest to see the Nightwing tribe. Anemone, of course, follows alongside her brother Turtle. Kinkajou, the Crush of Turtle, is currently in a coma there. Anemone decides to heal her, but knowing of Turtle's affections, she enchants Kinkajou to have feelings of him. Turtle freaks out and tells her that she can't just enchant other dragons to love them. However, she says that he should be thanking her. Because of Darkstalker's special connection to Moon, Anemone begins to feel a bit jealous. Anemone gets into trouble with Moon. She's a bit jealous over her connection to Darkstalker. While Anemone is Darkstalker's apprentice, Moon is his friend and closest companion. Because of this, she tries to force Moon to clean Fathom's room using animist magic. In order to distract Darkstalker, she makes a cloud of gemstones. Darkstalker is not so easily distracted, so he comes in and checks on her, knowing something is up. Anemone offers him an earring that will make Moon seem unimportant, a dark foil of the turtle's own stick of invisibility. But Darkstalker spots the obvious trick. He tells her that she's just like Fathom, and he doesn't know how he ever trusted her. Besides, her magic does not even work on him. She glances anxiously at Moon and Kinkajou. "What did you do to them?" "They don't need to hear this part," Darkstalker said, softly. "It's time for you to go back to the Kingdom of the Sea." "What is he doing?" Turtle thought in a panic. "Is he putting a spell on my sister?" "But I don't want to!" Anemone stamped her foot. "I hate it there! I want to stay with you and learn about being an animist!" "You know all you need to know," Darkstalker said. His voice seemed to be getting colder and dark, like water from the deepest ocean depths, curling slowly into Turtle's ears. "You know what Albatross did? You know how easily you could be queen. You know how nobody can stand in your way if you go and take out the Seawing throne right now. Is that what you want me to do?" Anemone asked. "I don't care what you do," said Darkstalker. "I was beginning to think you could be a worthy student, that perhaps I should keep you around after all. I thought you might be someone who could work alongside me." He glanced at Moon, then fixed his cold black eyes on Anemone. "But I was an idiot to let any affection for you creep in. You are truly Fathom's descendant. You're just as bad as he is, and I don't want you anywhere near me. I can't help but being Fathom's descendant," Anemone cried. Darkstalker flicked the earring at her. It bounced off her forehead and skidded across the floor. "None of your spells will ever work on me. I've protected myself from your magic. Now get out. Go kill your mother if you want. Feel free to kill any other dragons who stand in your way." He made this circling motion with his claws again. Moon took a breath in, glancing around as though mildly puzzled, and Kinkajou imitated her a moment later. "You won't be able to hurt Moon anymore," Darkstalker said, sweeping one wing towards the doorway, "so don't even try." This isn't fair, Anemone yelled. It's not fair. She bolted towards the balcony instead, then turned back, framed by the gray light outside. I'll show you how special and important I am. You'll see. She flung herself into the air. Anemone, Turtle's chest ached, as though all of his guilt had become boulders piled on his heart. This is my fault. This is my fault. It is left intentionally vague on whether or not this was Darkstalker casting a spell on her in this scene. Turtle follows her to the Sea Kingdom, and Anemone ends up showing up at the Island Palace to find a dagger that Whirlpool left for her to kill her own mother. He thought that showing his direct motivation all along was what I anticipated. He thought driving her insane would force her to kill her own mother. Anemone insinuates that she wants to kill her sisters, but Turtle steps in the way, revealing himself as an animus. You are? But that's because of me, Turtle said. I'm so sorry, Anemone. I'm the one who made you an animus, right here on the day of the Talons of Power ceremony. I didn't want anyone to find out about me, so I distracted them with you. And everything that's happened to you since then is all my fault. No, Anemone screamed. It's my power. You can't just take it. You can't just say it's yours. You did not create me. She launched herself at Turtle and slammed him onto his back in the waves. Her claws slashed at the side of his throat, and pain blistered through his gills. You didn't make me, and you cannot stop me. I can still kill her, she yelled. I can kill her with my bear claws. I can kill her with anything. I can make daggers out of seashells. I can poison drops of water around her snout. Anemone is likely feeling like she's losing a bit of her own power in the scene. Throughout her whole life, between her overbearing mother and evil teacher, her magic was the one thing that was solidly hers. And now, this random brother of hers, who she hasn't spent much time with, is claiming that it's his. They begin to have an epic fight scene. Turtle realizes he can just enchant something to make her temporarily be unable to use anima spells and be done with it. Anemone is pretty much convinced she's evil at this point, and it's pretty sad. Anemone threw her wings up in the air. Of course I am. I have to beat my stupid destiny to kill the queen. That's what princesses do. And I'm even worse because I'm an animus, so I'm going to turn evil anyway, no matter what I do. I should just do it and be evil and be done with it already. You don't have to be evil, Turtle cried appalled. Not every animus is evil. I'm not evil. But you will be, Anemone said accusingly. We both will be. That's what happens to animus dragons. Unless you're Darkstalker and you're so smart. Before they can discuss further, Darkstalker summons them to his throne room. He asks why there's a hidden dragon in the room, and then Anemone replies that they are smart, and saw his true colors since the start, unlike she did. Darkstalker does not like this reply, and uses a spell to enchant Anemone to shut up and do whatever he demands. He says that he wants to test his animus spell theories on her and Stone Mover. He summons a dragon who the hidden dragon cares about the most, Kinkajou. After he threatens her, Turtle is forced to reveal himself, but he manages to give his hiding stick he's been using to hide himself from Darkstalker to Anemone, and she escapes. We see her next stranded in the desert. How she got there is unknown, but she meets up with Keebly in winter. Keebly manages to find Anemone has been silenced by a spell, and after giving her an earring of protection, she tells them where the Kingdom Night is and to go there. She and Kinkajou are tasked with rescuing Turtle from the dungeon. Unfortunately, they get trapped in there, as both of them want to be the first one to see Turtle. That's kinda sweet, but also very dumb. Darkstalker starts a war with the Ice Wings and goes to Jade Mountain to fight them. Despite all the efforts to prevent it, a battle occurs. Anemone firstly uses a spell to make everyone think Darkstalker was calling for a Nightwing retreat, but that is easily countered. Darkstalker gets mad at this and throws a rock at her, but her brother takes the blow instead. He's invincible, by the way, so he's not harmed at all. After a bit of debate, they decide that a second spell is in order, and they make a spell allowing the Nightwings and Icewings to hear each other's thoughts and then be sent home. Using the same spell, Anemone removes the love spell on Kinkajou. She does this even though Kinkajou has been rude to her all book, rightfully so, which may show some change in her personality. She no longer feels like she can order dragons around because she's a princess, and she no longer feels entitled to their respect. The last we heard of her, she was getting a new non-evil dragon-produced soul necklace. Now that animus magic is gone, she does not have to worry about that at all, and can now focus on possibly becoming girlfriends with Tamarin. So that completes her arc. Anemone was originally a shy doormat, who then became bossy, however now she is working on becoming a better person. The arc of Anemone proves that who you are now does not have to determine your future. You can always have a chance to grow and change. While her mentor Darkstalker may reject the opportunity to change and do good, Anemone is still looking towards how she can improve her own faults in the future. I feel like I sympathize a lot with Anemone. I did a lot of wrong things in my past, and I hurt a lot of people. However, to this day, I'm always trying to improve and do better on what I did. And I know that saying things doesn't mean anything, but I like to try and prove that in my actions. But what is your opinion on Anemone? Can you relate to her at all? Comment that down below. If you like this video, feel free to subscribe. I make Wings of Fire and Warrior Cats videos pretty often, and your support means a lot to me. And to those who have already subscribed, thank you so much for your continued support. I wouldn't have gotten here without y'all. That's it, Rogan out.